Hello and welcome to the Rask Network. What you're about to hear and see is limited to general financial information only. Please be sure to speak to your financial planner or refer to our financial services guide available at rask.com.au/FSG before acting on the information. Welcome to this very special Money and Chill installment, the final one of 2023, joined as always by Kate Campbell. How are you doing?
I am doing well. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas. And Monique, Pizza, how you doing?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Very good, very good. So we're here. We're in the Christmas spirit and the lead up to gift giving and celebration with family and time away from work, hopefully for some folks. And maybe it's a trip or maybe it's camping or even just a bucket of KFC chicken with some family and friends over Christmas.
Yum.
I know. Kate's like looking at me like, what are you talking about? Well, that's what we used to do at my family back in the day when we had the big family gatherings.
KFC and champagne.
Big Rask family gatherings. Someone would bring the biggest bucket of KFC chicken, bought the night before for the day of.
That's beautiful.
Easier than a barbecue.
Heat it up?
Yeah. Sometimes you can eat it cold. It's pretty good, to be honest.
Depends
anyway,
how you're feeling.
We're not endorsing KFC on this show, just an FYI. Today we're going to talk about basically our monthly wrap, and we're going to share some updates on what we're working on, what to prepare for over Christmas, and get some gift ideas in the mix.
Gift ideas, some summer reading content, inspiration if you get bored, and even just share some of our money lessons from the year to wrap things up, since it's our final Money and Chill for 2023.
It is indeed. So it's been a big year, but these episodes are always fun. If you're looking for a jam-packed summer series, you're in the right place, because over the new year we're going to be doing or releasing a lot of episodes that are really structured around kind of savings, investing, just even kind of getting a sense of where you are personally and working towards those long-term goals or habits that you want to form with money, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and focusing on breaking things down. So instead of just saying, I want to be better with money next year, the episodes will give you lots of different ideas of smaller goals you can create to work towards that bigger one.
Yeah, and it's always, January is a very popular time for people to start at the gym, but also to get on top of their financial resolutions. And we think the easiest way to I guess, give that gift to people is through this podcast series that we do in January. So every year for the past few years, we do a summer series, and they tackle all different types of topics. And the idea is they're not basic, but they're designed to be friendly for anyone, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or more advanced in your financial discipline and understanding. So that's a long way of saying share these episodes with your friends and family if they have those New Year's resolutions of, hey, I want to get better at money. Hey, I want to start investing. Hey, I just want to kind of feel secure in what I know about money and start saving. So those will be coming up soon. But Kate, you're the published author in the room today, the only one. Mm-hmm. Monique and I definitely. Well, actually, Monique, you have published a book.
Monique has a book.
It's self-published. It's hardly worth
still
mentioning.
Now that I think about it, we haven't ever spoken about this.
We don't need to.
What a Christmas revelation!
Isn't it called After Dark?
After Hours.
Okay.
It's
After
a photo journal of all my live music photos from 2015 to 2020.
What's included in the book? Like, where were the photos taken? And
So it's mainly based on, I made it based around Melbourne venues. So it was all basically local artists in local venues.
Wow,
Yeah.
cool. So that means that I'm the only one that's outgunned in the studio today. two published authors, and I'm just sitting here. Wow, okay. Well, Kate.
I mean, you've got other attributes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I enjoy fishing, if that counts.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, okay, Kate. So you're the big kind of reader in the room then. That's probably the fair thing to say. Mm-hmm. What's on your Christmas reading list? Or what would you recommend for other people?
Well, one that I haven't read, so I can't 100% recommend because I haven't actually read it yet, but I will be reading this Christmas is Morgan Housel, author of The Psychology of Money, a book we've mentioned a lot on the show. Mm-hmm. He's got a brand new book out called Same as Ever, and that's all about the things that never change and reminding you that there's a lot of things that stay the same on your investing journey and throughout life. So that is on my book pile for the summer. I'm trying to narrow down a pile of about 20 to 10 because I just will not have time to read all of them. So I'm trying to prioritize a little bit, of bit of fiction, a bit of non-fiction on there. Not too many finance books for the summer. I think if someone's looking for a really good TV show, if you haven't watched Ted Lasso already, that was a fantastic watch this year. That's on Apple TV.
Is that the soccer coach one, where he's like an American that goes to coach soccer?
But I think do they call it football?
Football, yes, they do.
Yes.
Yes. Kate has been talking a lot about this year.
I've rewatched it, so.
Interesting. Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, wow, that good.
It has so many good one-liners.
Okay, double down. We should do an all-time best quotes from Ted Lasso. Now, in the notes here, I also noticed, because we do a little bit of note-taking, or Kate does the majority, and then Monique, and then myself, in that order. I noticed that you have something here, lessons in chemistry.
Yes, another
is that?
show that I've been recommended from a lot of friends, but I haven't watched yet. So that's on my summer watch list, and that's on Apple TV as well.
Cool. Okay. Lessons in chemistry. That was probably the hardest subject for me at school, so it's kind of
Chemistry.
like PTSD.
I think it's
I never even
3
attempted
times.
it.
Based off the trailer, it doesn't seem like it's focused on
Okay,
chemistry.
we're not doing stoichiometry or something like that.
It's not a documentary.
Okay. Right. I like it.
And what are you watching? Squid Game?
No, the reality one, no. But I've been watching, I've been going back and watching the most recent season of Sex Education, for anyone that watches that.
Nice.
It is so much fun. And
Good actors.
Amazing actors, aren't they? I just think that, like, a lot of the stuff that gets published these days, the acting is, it's okay, but I think that they're just wonderful actors. And it's kind of fun. They're all colourful. They're talking about subjects that 10 years ago would have been taboo. And it's just kind of this made up place. It's kind of, everyone's unique, even though they've got all English accents. You don't know where it is. And it's just a bit of fun, and it's really easy to watch. You wouldn't watch it with your kids, but it's for any adult that wants to just have a bit of light entertainment, and it's a bit of a drama in there, and explores different topics in adult education and adolescent education. The book that I'm reading at the moment is The Alchemist. It's a very small, very easy to read book. I think when I picked it up, I don't know if I said to you both, but I definitely said to someone, whoever that was, probably myself, or my dog, I don't know. But I was like, if I was ever going to design a book, like when I think about like the cover, how it's written, the font, and like the little graphics that are throughout, there's like hand-drawn graphics. I was like, this is how I'd want it to feel. And I just think the book, it's like, I think it's one of the top 10 must-read books of like the 20th century or something, The Alchemist. And it's just a really light read as you explore this shepherd's journey throughout the world at the time. And it's just a really interesting book that just prompts introspection and how you see the world. So I love that. And it was a great recommendation. I can't remember where it came through, but when I got 20 books delivered the other day for summer, 20. This was the smallest.
Monique's in shock.
This was the
I think I've read 20 books in my life.
Well, I plan to spend a bit of time, as you guys know, like on the boat.
On the boat with the books.
On the boat or on the beach, just camping, and I'm going to go down to Wilson's Prom and just take the boat out to some secluded beaches and camp for a few nights.
Lovely.
And I just want to take the books. There's not that much reception down there, so it's just be a good chance just to read. And this book came amongst all the 20 books. It was the smallest, the most interesting cover, and I picked up like books like this, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but when you pick it up, it's like Bible paper. It's so thin, and the font from the next page shines through to this page, and I'm like, that's going to be hectic. So I'm going to have to be in the right frame of mind to read that. And I think this is the book that I already, it's like really struck a chord. So I'm really enjoying that.
Cool.
Clear Thinking by Shane Parrish, which
I read that as well.
Yeah.
Really good book.
Yeah, really good book. Not something that's like, you wouldn't, like if you're not a reader, I would say it's probably not the easiest thing to just crack open and just start reading. Although Shane does a really good job, and the book is not big. I was surprised. I thought
it was a quick audiobook when I listened.
Really quick. Like I just going to and from the city for work, I think it was done in like on audiobooks, listening in the car on Bluetooth. I think it was done in like, I don't know, like 3 trips. So somewhere between 6 and 8 hours, I'd say. It wasn't that long, and I was really surprised because you go to Shane's website and he's a brilliant writer.
Very
Absolutely
lengthy pieces usually
Yeah.
on Farnham Street.
Yeah. And it wasn't like that. It's really easy to read. It's really concise. It kind of leaves ideas to the kind of imagination and further research.
Yeah. I think it was a little bit less action oriented and more just thought provoking.
Yeah. But Shane Parrish's website, which is Farnham Street or fs.blog is the URL. There's a fantastic post in there on how to remember what you read. I'll put a link in the show notes. And he talks about, like, for anyone like me who's like extremely slow at reading, like I just get frustrated with how slow I am sometimes. And I'm one of those people, I don't know about you two, I'll ask you a sec. I can't move on until I understand what happened on that page. So I'm not like one of those readers that can kind of skim through and reflect and be like, oh, that's how it works, which is probably not very productive. But do you guys ever get that? Like, are you the type of reader where you have to understand before you can move on?
I think this year I often don't understand what I'm reading on my law textbook pages, and you have to just go through the chapter a bit and look at other resources and read other people's ways of understanding it. So I think I didn't have time to get stuck. It just forced me to keep moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like with anything I'm reading, I'll just be like, oh, I'm sure I'll understand that later, and then it'll click.
Yeah. Yeah, well, so my friend Ryan, who's been on the show before, he was messaging me the other day. He's kind of the opposite. He just keeps reading through, even if he doesn't understand it, in the hope that it clicks and it kind of works for him. And he sent me some research on that technique.
Yeah.
But it took me 4 years to read Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance because of that reason. I couldn't understand it. And then I got to the end and I realized it was 3 stories in one. And that's why I was confused. This was like allegory on allegory. And I was like, what? I should have read the blurb or back to front. And anyway.
Yeah.
Shane also says something in that how to read. He says that it's the author's duty to keep you wanting to read, which I've always had this other interpretation of, I've got to finish it if I start it. But he was like, no, just put it down, move on. I don't know.
After 50 pages, if you don't like it, move on, unless you have to read it for study or work.
Yeah, true.
Life's too short to read bad books, though. There's so many other better ways of explaining something. So if you want to learn the lessons from Zen and the Art of Motorcycle, I'm sure there's other books that explain similar concepts. So you could find something that's more suitable.
You know what? I bought that book because I heard it on a podcast of someone that's read like 1,000 books on this type of thing, of like philosophy and that. And they're like, this is the book to change my life. So I was like, I'm going to read that book because this guy's read a lot of stuff. And then I got into it. I'm like, I have to go through this. I remember I started reading it on my honeymoon. I was like, first 10 pages sitting on the beach in Port Douglas. I was like, this is going to take me a long time. Little did I know it'd be years later. But the other book that many people that listen to the show will have on their shelf will be Buying Happiness by Kate Campbell. I'm pretty sure, off the top of my head, Kate, I think it was chapter 6 was my favorite.
I think that's either Buying Happiness or Buying Time. The seminal chapters.
The seminal chapters.
Are in the middle.
In the middle, yeah.
Usually you put them, you front load.
What do you mean by that?
You put the best chapter at the start because most people wouldn't wait to the end for the best chapter.
I think your chapters got better as they went on. Would that be fair to say? Or am I being unnecessarily critical?
The whole thing was great, okay?
Yeah.
No, but I think because it starts with the basics. So you already knew those.
Yeah. And
so that more interesting stuff for you would probably be the middle bit.
Yeah. Buying Happiness by Kate Campbell. Get it on your bookshelf or into your brain ASAP.
It's a good summer read.
Yeah, it is. And it's not hard to read because it's not like, again, it's not a huge book. And like just the feel of it, like Major Street is the publisher, it's just very familiar. If you've read Evan's book, Mind Over Money, it'll feel like, as in like the picking up the book will feel
It flows
familiar.
very well and it's like very easy to read, which is great.
Yeah. So what's on your list, Mon?
To read?
Or just in general?
Your content recommendations for the summer.
Well, I've just started to watch the Doctor Who special.
Doctor Who.
On Disney, yep. So I think, is it 60 years? Their anniversary?
Oh, I just watched it.
Okay, anyway.
I didn't know the background.
It might be 60 years of Doctor Who. I might get that number wrong. But anyway, so David Tennant's back, if we have any David Tennant fans. I'm a huge fan.
Okay.
So that would be on my list to recommend.
I was asking you and Kate off air. I thought Doctor Who was that guy that went around the UK and solved crimes.
Mate, are you thinking of Sherlock Holmes?
I don't know if I am, but I don't know.
Sherlock Holmes didn't just trek around the UK.
That's David Tennant. I just
David
looked him
Tennant,
up.
Barney
Yeah.
Crouch Jr.
Yes.
Elementary is a good show, though,
That's
if
a
anyone
really
likes
good show.
Sherlock Holmes vibes.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, that is very good. So Doctor Who, where can you watch it?
Disney Plus.
Okay.
Yes. So it's pretty funny.
Right, okay.
Also, the Ed Sheeran documentary on Disney Plus.
Oh, yeah, true.
I finally watched part 1
Yeah.
on the weekend.
I still haven't watched that.
Very moving.
Yeah.
Adds a lot of depth to the songs.
Yeah, no, true. There's heaps of stories behind everything he does, so that would be a good one too.
Can you give us a bit about the Doctor Who? Like, what is it?
So he's a time space lord.
Time Space Lord.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been going for, I'm going to say, 60 years. So each kind of season or every third season, whatever, they'll change the actor, but it's still the Doctor. So the character never changes, but his face changes. Regenerates, that's the word. And he just like goes on little adventures and saves the world every episode and that kind of stuff.
So is it always set on planet Earth?
No, like, so different planets, Earth, space, in the middle of any type of universe. It's
comes
pretty
back
fun.
to Earth quite a bit to collect companions.
Yeah. He always has like a little sidekick. Yeah, it's great.
Cool. A quick
Travels around in a TARDIS.
Yeah. Oh my God, I forgot the biggest part.
Blue police box. It's very British.
a blue police box.
Yes.
That's the TARDIS. And when you go in, it's like a massive space ship, time machine. That's the word.
Do you
I'm
mean
going
like a phone booth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
On the outside,
Okay, right.
not in the inside.
Interesting.
And the inside regenerates as well.
Just
Yeah.
A quick Google reveals it's about 900 episodes, and you were right. 26 seasons. Oh, no, that was the old series. It started in 1963,
Yeah.
making it 60 years
Yeah.
old. Incredible. Wow. Okay, so must be doing something right then. Okay.
It's always a bit of fun. Like the effects aren't that great with all the aliens and stuff that are in the episodes. Are mostly costumes, so there's
cool.
not that much like CGI and stuff like that.
Like Star Wars. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay. Christmas is a time of gift giving, other than ideas to watch on your Netflix or Disney account and some books thrown in. We can come up with a few more things to help you out if you're still looking. Kate, where do you want to begin?
Well, on my Christmas gift list for some ideas, Monique actually brought this one up to me and then I used it. Class Bento, where you can book lots of different workshops for people and it's very easy to buy something for as a gift. So it could be a ceramic class, a cooking class. There was a make your own terrarium workshop, like all sorts of different things across Australia, and you can book it and give someone a gift certificate or a gift voucher so they can pick their own.
Right. So this is like an experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a candle making class one time, and the good thing about Class Bento is like if you choose, just say a candle making class, and the person doesn't like it or something happens and they want to choose something different, they can choose anything else, any other different experience on the list. So they're not set in the candle making class. They could use that voucher and do a, I don't know, the smash room or something like that.
Cool. Okay, so Class Bento.
Yeah, so that's a good idea if you want to get someone an experience.
Cool. Yep. Monique, anything?
My whole family, we've kind of already discussed what we're giving each other for Christmas, but we don't particularly need anything. And for me, I'm in a one-bedroom apartment, so I don't have space for things. So I spoke with my sister the other day and I was like, I like your cooking. Can you just like make me pre-made meals and I'll put it in the freezer? So that's what she's doing for me. So I thought that was a good idea because I prefer that than going to the supermarket and buying frozen meals.
Yeah.
I'd rather have someone's cooking.
That's great. Yeah. That's where the name comes from, of course, pizza.
Yeah, of course.
Not really, but I've said this before. I don't think I've mentioned it on the finance podcast, but you can use the coupon code RASKXmas and you can get 50% off Major Street Publishing books. So that would include Buying Happiness, the Ulysses Contract, Kids Ain't Cheap, many more. Shareplicity, if you're familiar with that, from Danielle Ecuyer.
There's quite a few business-themed books and marketing and leadership on there.
Yeah, Vince Scully's books on there. There's plenty of books on there. So check that out. Rask Xmas, all one word.
Books are always a good gift. Another idea, if they have a favourite cafe or restaurant, getting them a voucher. Even better, you could find a date they're free and book it in and prepay for it. So that could be a fun idea. I just think it'd be cool to have like a $50 voucher to your favourite cafe. Then you get like plenty of free coffees.
That's probably really important now versus any time in the last few years because people are going to, this is just my gut feel, I feel like with the way the economy and interest rates are heading, it's going to be harder for people to spend on things to indulge themselves. So if you can find something that is indulgent for them, you're kind of taking something meaningful to them and you're giving them excuse to pamper themselves or spend on themselves. So just have a look at that. There could be like massage vouchers, the things that like maybe release a bit of stress in the new year. gives them a chance to go out.
I mean, massages are definitely something that are not in my budget at the moment.
Yeah,
So a voucher's always good. Even a good quality umbrella.
Yes, a good
Because
quality
most
umbrella.
people don't buy themselves. They're not that expensive, and you can just get a really good one because most people just rely on getting a free one from an event or something like that. So get a good one that's going to last them for the next 5 to 10 years, or get them a really good quality pair of socks.
Ha, trusty.
People won't spend $20 on
Happy
a really
socks.
nice pair of socks, but then you can only spend $20 and get them a nice pair of socks.
Sometimes I know you're a big fan of the craft markets and that sort of stuff. You can sometimes pick up nice knitted socks and those types of things that people wouldn't spend on.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like that's a good idea. If someone wants to get us a restaurant voucher, feel free. Send it to the Rask group, care of Owen Rask. There's this funny thing. I think I'm going
He's going to keep that all to himself.
Yes. No, I'll make it a team thing, of course. She had a love. So, Meowie Christmas card. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it popped up on my Instagram, classic marketing algorithm. It claims to be the world's most annoying Christmas card. So when you open it,
I know this one.
You know the one? I knew you would because it's cat related. When you open the Christmas card, there's like a tag that kind of pulls off. And then it just starts meowing and it doesn't stop until the battery runs out.
I love it.
And then if you try and get into it and try and like break it or something, when you open it, glitter just pops out everywhere. So it just goes everywhere.
I need to get one.
And I was like, I'm going to get some of these. I'm going to get some of these.
Someone's going to murder you because they're going to have glitter like throughout their carpet and
glitter
their
just
hair.
falls out all over the place and it just doesn't stop.
You know, when you have
meowing.
glitter in your hair, it is very hard to get it out. It takes ages.
It just meows to the sound of like the Christmas Carol, basically. Like it's just like
meow, 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 meow,
yeah,
meow.
yeah, and it just doesn't
Meow,
stop,
meow,
and then it goes
meow.
into different tones, and it's just so annoying. And basically, the only thing you got to do is just like throw it out the window to get rid of it. So there's a little tip for people that want to be a bit cheeky at Christmas. You can take a free course on our Rask Education website. Grand total price of free. So that's also known as $0 if you want to learn about finance, investing, all these types of things. There's always links in the show notes. But
I know we've got food hampers on here, and I've done that in the past. When people are hard to buy for or they definitely don't want any more things, you can just go to one of those gourmet gift shops or David Jones or something and get a few little like olives and different packaged items, some nice pasta, some olive oil, and make your own little hamper, which is usually cheaper than buying a pre-made hamper.
Yep.
yeah, right.
True.
I do like that idea. I remember a few years ago getting some gifts for like wineries or breweries where they do like a cheese and crackers session where you get like a bottle of wine included, and you can go sit out in the vineyard or whatever. You take like a little picnic blanket. That's really good for people who are that way inclined. Is there anything else we want to mention other than Scrub Daddy, which is the sponge that changes lives? Check it out on Amazon. $5.
Well, probably to an extension of what you just said, Owen. There's this company called Amazing Co. Have you heard of it?
Yes, I've heard of it.
Yeah. So I got gifted that a couple of years ago, and you go on like a mystery picnic, which I thought was like the best gift someone's given me, because it's not something you'd ever do yourself or buy for yourself. So you get to choose if you're in Melbourne. So I think there's a Yarra Valley, or you can go to St Kilda, or there's all these different areas you can go in Melbourne that you choose. And they direct you to the different wineries or cafes or whatever to pick up your food. And then they tell you to go to a particular park or whatever, bring your picnic blanket, and then you sit down and have all the food that you've collected along the way.
Cool. That actually reminds me, if you haven't already signed up for Virgin or Jetstar's mailing list, and you get the I don't know what they call them, like frenzy sales, or sign up to them, because sometimes you can get like an Adelaide ticket from Melbourne or Sydney or Brisbane, and it might cost you like $69. And you can just pick up and go provided you don't have kids. Maybe you could take them, buy an extra ticket. You can just pick up and go.
Yeah.
And it's so cheap that you might be able to go for a night or 2 nights and indulge yourself for a little while. But you wouldn't know unless you're on the mailing list. So
Yeah, that's a good idea too.
yeah. And finally, I just say, like, we talk a lot about gift giving and ideas and that sort of stuff. You don't need to spend money, as Monique's idea from before. You don't need to spend money to give someone a gift. So you can go and do something with them, like go for a walk or go to the beach or use what you've already got in the house to make something. Like, you don't need to do that. And I think that's a really important reminder as you get into Christmas, it can become very consumeristic, and you can start buying cheap products or cheap gifts that they're going to throw out. At the end of the day, we've talked about this a lot on the show this year, probably a big learning, which we'll get to in a sec, is you can take the feeling and the best bit of something, and often you can change it. So the example we used this year is I wanted to climb Mount Everest. It didn't really fit in with our team goals at home. So what was the feeling? Well, the feeling was to be out in the nature and to be pushing myself physically. So then it changes to, well, maybe there's a marathon you can run, or maybe there's something else where you can take the idea of something that's going to be costly, a big thing, and you can make it something that's a lot lower cost, and you still get the emotional benefits, which is why we do these things. So try and think about those at home. Okay, Kate, maybe jump to you. Big lessons from 2023.
Big lessons. All right. Well, I think my biggest lesson is with cost of living at the moment, it's super important to check on your bills and all of those subscriptions that come through on a monthly basis, because things can quickly get away from you. I mean, most providers, whether it's water, energy, Netflix, have raised their prices this year. And I think if you leave it 6 months, suddenly you realize that everything's gone up, and you might have had the opportunity to cancel things you weren't using or find a better deal. Even yesterday, I was having a look at my bank account. I realized my water company had charged me the exact same amount twice, 2 weeks apart. And they had put it as a credit on my account for some reason, but also that means they've got that money for 3 months that I could use for something else. So they're like, oh, we can refund it if you like. I was like, yes, please refund it.
Give me my money back.
But you've just got to stay on top of things. Like sometimes you think you've cancelled something and it ends up it hasn't cancelled, or you might find a much better electricity provider or a phone provider. Just everything's gone up. So it's just a good reminder to keep on top of things.
Yeah, I like it. Apple does a good thing where they send you a notice, like a push notification when there's going to be a price increase for the Apple subscriptions. Okay. I don't know if this is a similar thing on Android, like a comparable thing. But that's good because not a lot of them do that. I signed up to Spotify recently and I had like a trial period where it was a discounted offer. And so what I did is I set a phone reminder for a day, the day before. Like as I'd signed up, I was like, in 40 days or whatever it was from now, send me a reminder to say, hey, Siri, set a reminder to cancel Spotify or review it or whatever. Sorry, Spotify. Yeah, but that's just a really easy nudge to review subscriptions.
Yeah,
anything like that, like car insurance, big things as well.
Yeah, my other big lesson from the year and all the stuff I was doing in research and prep for writing Buying Happiness is that it's super important to focus on your relationships and to prioritize that. And when you're writing your goals and your resolutions and your vision board for next year, are you putting relationships somewhere up the top? Because all the research says long-term, it's the quality of our relationships that adds the most happiness and value to our lives. So thinking about, well, am I making the relationships with the people important to me a priority this year? And that's something that's definitely been put much higher up on the list than it used to be.
That's great. You had said that a few times throughout 2023. What would that look like? Like if you had like a list of things you want to focus on in 2024, if someone's out there doing that, how would it take shape? Like I'd imagine you just wouldn't have relationships and then point number 2, save more money. Like how would it look like? What could people do?
So one thing that I did is write a list of all my friends and family and actually note when I had last contacted them, whether it was a phone call, a text, or catching up. And once I saw it had been sort of 2 or 3 months, depends on the person. They might not have been in the country, so you don't want to be contacting them all the time. But I would actually make an effort to go and contact them and see how they're doing and just check in without necessarily going to see them in person because they might not be nearby, but also just a reminder to catch up with them and check in.
Cool. I like that. I haven't heard from Kate outside workouts for at least 3 months. I'm just saying.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the phone
you
call.
Kind of need it's so easy to go 3 months and realize you haven't spoken to X family member or X friends. So it's a good reminder to have. And even if you put something in, like your goal is to catch up with one friend a week, whether it's a coffee or something else.
Yeah, you've been a big proponent of that this year, is like just reminding all of us to like go out and socialize, go out and invest in those relationships. They can be hard a lot of the time.
Yeah, and even hosting, that's been something that's helped this year. Hosting some different events at my place has been a great way to bring everyone together at once and sort of have a more open door. So even if you've got some newer friends, they can come along as well because it's a group gathering.
Yeah, cool. Like it. What about you, Monique?
This year, I guess I've figured out, or maybe it's just been like throughout my life, I've figured out the more organized you are, the kind of like more money you save.
Mic drop.
So I know, right? For example, I'm planning an America trip that's still a while away in April, but I started to plan it in probably June or something like that this year. And by doing that, I saved so much money on flights, so much money on accommodation. And I made sure, like, if you go through booking.com, they have a lot of free cancellations.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no worries if I find something else because I can just cancel the one I booked. But it's already done and I've saved that money because it's done 8 months in advance or whatever it was. And even with theme parks and stuff like that, if you do it in advance, you save money. So yeah, just generally speaking, if you do stuff in advance, you tend to save money.
Yep.
Even with Christmas presents and birthday presents.
Meal prep.
Meal prep.
Yep.
Just be organised.
Yeah, just be organised. And if you go shopping and you see a sale and you're like, oh, that pair of shoes or whatever is going to be really great for my sister's birthday in a couple months, I'm going to buy them now because they're on sale and I'll pop it on my present shelf.
You have a present shelf?
I have a present shelf.
Present shelf. Do you have a Christmas tree? You guys have a Christmas tree?
I have a Christmas twig.
I made a
Christmas
Christmas bookshelf.
Christmas bookshelf. Interesting. Okay.
It doesn't look great. I'm not going to show anyone.
And if you think about it, like what's the old saying, Kate? If you drill, it tastes better. If you prepare for things, you can anticipate
Yeah, exactly.
what's to come.
Yeah. And you look forward to it and it gets a little bit more exciting along the way. That's how I like to do things.
Just one of the FYIs on that booking.com feature is that sometimes it does cost you more. So
Yeah.
if you go onto booking.com, there's often an option to, when you go in and find the hotel or accommodation or whatever it is that you're booking, you'll see 2 options for the same room. And one of them is like, there's like the cancellation policy and you have to pay a deposit and that sort of stuff. And the other one is like, you can just change your mind at any time, but it will cost you a little bit more per night.
Not all the time, but I've seen that on some of them.
Yeah, like we were booking something in Italy last night and it was London and it was $500 more for the extra 5 nights. So approximately $100 more. And that's just the reality of, getting that flexibility. But I think...
So did you lock it in?
No, we went with the flexible times because the whole trip is not yet booked.
Yeah.
But we've already changed a couple
of
the places. So
worth it.
Has made sense so far. What
about you?
My thing would be a lot of people are finding out, I think, myself included, that thinking long term with your money or your business or whatever it is that you're working on seems really boring in the short term. So, and it seems pointless. Like in the last few years when interest rates were really low, people are investing money, people are saving money. They're like, I don't need to save a few bucks here or there. And this is old lifestyle inflation creeping in where you get more money and you think it's always going to be like this. So you spend more money. Like if you get a pay rise, you spend more. These types of things. If your mortgage goes down, you spend more or you compensate for it when you probably could just keep spending that same amount on your mortgage so you pay it off faster or you go into an offset account or something like that. Or if you get a pay rise, you save the incremental dollar. I think what I've realized this year is the value of that long-term mindset because a lot of people have their budget squeezed this year. Businesses are going to go out of business. And I think that the time to prepare for that was a year ago. And people weren't thinking like that because they were just thinking the good times will continue. Not really thinking that, hey, the future might be more difficult for me. So I should probably not get a credit card or I should probably not get that personal loan. I should probably not do that thing. And myself included. Like I spent money probably a year ago where I was like, I probably didn't need to do that. And now I don't have that money, So I think that's one of the things is like, to finish first, you must first finish. I would say the other thing that has really dawned on me this year, it was probably last year, but also this year, is that like the search for lower fees in finance, like for brokerage accounts, for all that sort of stuff, is now at a point where it's just, if the thing that you're doing is like you're basing a decision on fees, like a lot of people in the FIRE community do, I think that's kind of pointless, to be honest. Like, I think it holds more people back worrying about like the tiny little fees of which ETF, this one's slightly lower than that one, or which brokerage account, this one's slightly lower brokerage than that one. I think that's actually doesn't matter. I just think it's pointless. Like, don't let that, I think that like the perfection is the enemy of, I guess, traction. And you want to get traction early on. You want to start investing. You want to do all those things. And you said something this year, Kate, which was really interesting to me. Is like a lot of the data, correct me if I'm wrong, suggests that after 3 options, analysis paralysis kind of takes over. So limit your options to a maximum of 3 brokerage accounts or a maximum of 3 things that you're looking for, and just pick one. Particularly here, there's not that much to worry about. I think it's really interesting because a lot of people kind of shoot first and ask questions later with property, which is such a ginormous thing. But then when it comes to like investing $100 in a brokerage account, they can spend weeks deciding which one to go with. And at the end of the day, one of those has consequences and the other one really doesn't. So that would be one thing that's crept into my mind. The other thing is, as my life's gone on, is that, and it's probably dawned on me this year, is that a lot of the things that, in my case, that have motivated me, like money-wise or financial-wise, a lot of things that have motivated me have been a classic, like hedonic treadmill, like a classic happiness trap, which is like, I'll be happy when I get to that point over there. I'll be happy when I achieve this thing. I'll be happy when I get there. I've realized it's really kind of like hit me over the head this year is that it doesn't really need to be, it's not really, it's the process, it's the journey.
Enjoy the process as well.
Yeah. And so this year, I spent a lot more money than I normally would have, to be honest, on things, because for my whole life, I've been really not, maybe anxious is the right word, but I've been very mindful of like always moving towards the long-term goal, no matter what, like save more money, don't go out with friends, don't take that trip, don't do that thing, always sacrifice. And now I'm like, maybe I've swung too far the other way, but now I'm like, you know what?
You have made a few big purchases in the last 12 months.
I'm not getting any younger. Like, just have a bit of fun while you can.
Yeah, enjoy now.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's all about moderation, right? So so that's probably one thing that I realized is this year that's kind of dawned on me. And I was chatting to, there's been a fair bit of sickness around me recently. And I was chatting to some friends who are my age and they're really successful in their business and what they do. And this one guy in particular was like, you know what? You probably listens to the show. He's like, you know what? I'm just going to go and buy that car. He's like, I'm going to go and buy that V8. He's like, I've always wanted one. I've got enough money. I've always put it off. It's a shit financial decision. I should just buy an electric car or secondhand car, but I'm going to go and do it and I'm going to get it and I'm going to hear the roar of the car and just enjoy it for a couple of years and just see what happens.
Nice.
I was like, yeah, man, if you can afford to do it, just do it. You know,
I think sometimes it's just sort of like identifying what's a lifestyle decision and what's a financial decision and not thinking like saying, oh, this property's an investment when it's really a lifestyle decision.
Yeah.
So
people don't know the difference, right?
Yeah. And sometimes we try to justify it like, oh, this is an investment in myself. And really we might enjoy it a lot more if we go, well, it might not pay off. It might just be something I want to spend money on and that's okay.
Yeah. I think if people can't identify the alternatives rationally, like as rationally as possible. So like, for example, buying a boat, right? For me, it is by far, maybe you could say jet skis are probably a worse decision in my opinion, but that's because I don't like jet skis. But a boat is almost the worst possible thing you could ever spend money on. Like literally the worst possible thing, unless you live on it. It rarely gets used. It costs a buckload of money. It deteriorates over time. The salt water destroys it. You have to constantly maintain it. Like, just think about how much it costs to go to tow the bloody... Like, it's just a horrible, horrible way to use money.
And yet,
you buy one, right? So the reality is, though, that to get to that decision, you have to explore the alternatives to make it sensible in your mind, to make it a lifestyle choice and not a complete, misery. It's like, could you hire a boat just a few times a year? Could you figure out cheaper alternatives? Could you go and share with a friend who maybe uses...
Are there boat clubs?
There's boat clubs, there's yacht clubs, there's that type of stuff. And so maybe with whatever it is that you're trying to work towards, maybe there's an alternative. And that way you can kind of make a more balanced decision and you can honestly justify it, not just, oh yeah, I could have done like, I got this because of X, Y, Z. It's like, yeah, well, how often are you going to use it? It's just an example. But this has been fun. 2023 has been a big year. The most popular episode, Kate, just if we reflect really quickly, what was the most popular episode of 2023?
Well, on Spotify, it says it was your 30-minute guide to starting a business. But I think on Apple, it was probably 23 ways to save and invest in 2023. So we have a lot of small business fans listening on Spotify. So that is very good. And we've got the Australian Business Podcast. If you want to sink your teeth into the idea of starting a business or a side hustle next year, that is a great resource for you. But we've had a good year.
Had a great year.
We've got plenty of resources and episodes lined up for January.
Yes, we do indeed. You didn't hear the mic drop before because we're in a carpeted room, but that was a business podcast episode. So fist pump to that. There is more coming.
Owen's very happy.
On the Australian Business Podcast. You can go and check that out. There's also a free course. Speaking of free courses, this week, actually, we've hit 25,000 students total enrolled in courses.
Cool.
So a huge achievement by our team and us. And Kate, a lot of work this year on the Rask education side of things. Like, it's a huge achievement. So they're all there, all the free courses. If you're new to finance, the road trip, it's a 6-part series. It's free, under an hour, basically, or about an hour you can take a course. And they all join together at the hip. Yep. So take those.
And make sure to send us a message via Instagram, via the comments section in Spotify, or via the Ask Us a Question in your podcast player. If you have any ideas or people you want us to talk to in 2024, we're all ears.
Please do it. And if you want to do us a huge favor right now, about 40,000 people follow us on Spotify. We definitely do not have 40,000 reviews. If you could, do us a massive favor. In just a minute, just scroll down on your app and click the thing that's like a star rating. Ideally, we would love 5, but it's on Apple. You just scroll down, you click, like, just bang, done.
Yeah, and on Spotify, it's at the top.
It's at the top, just bang, done. It takes like 1 second to do it. If you could please do that, that would be a huge help for us and helps other people find us and know that they're getting trusted information, especially at this time of, I guess, the kind of economy when people are starting to struggle. They need reliable finance content. So this has been heaps of fun, ladies. Pizza, always a pleasure.
Anytime.
Good luck reading. Oh, you've already read Buying Happiness. So,
yes.
Yes, you've already read that. So good luck with Doctor Who.
Thank you.
60-year anniversary. Kate, good luck with Buying Happiness. Your new book is out and reading, same as ever, by Morgan Housel. And as always, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for listening, everyone, and a very safe and happy Christmas holidays.
Yes, happy Christmas. Merry Christmas, ladies.